Hey, how's it going? All right. Yeah, Audiology. It's been a long time, to paraphrase, quote, the great American writer Mark Twain. Reports of my demise were greatly exaggerated. No, I'd always kept in the back of my mind that I wanted to do more audiology. I mean, it was originally Raiho's idea, and we both sort of fallen off with it. But it was important to me. I really wanted to do it, and usual stuff. Don't really have the time to get into it. Doesn't really matter. But I didn't want to take focus away from Cold Talks Comics, my main gig. But yeah, so it was important to me. I really wanted to do an episode of this and hopefully do them a little more regularly now. Didn't have access to a lot of my CDs while I had the music. It was important to me to have the music with me physically, I suppose. Alright, so since I've already wasted a minute, I'll also say that since I do have a lot to say on this one, I'm going to probably leave out a lot of the technical details that I usually like to include in this sort of thing. So without further ado, we're talking about Sloan's second album, Twice Removed. And a little about Sloan first. I'll try not to talk too much, but once again, they're another one of those Canadian bands that just could not be any bigger in Canada by this point, and have enjoyed tremendous success here. Albums are always do well, even though, if you ask me, the last few years, quality's fallen off a little bit. Basically, how I think you can really measure a lot of the great Canadian music. There are some exceptions, of course, as if if I'm talking to people in other countries, specifically the U.S. or Europe and stuff like that, and you haven't heard of a band or whatever, that they're probably the best we have to offer. That's usually how it goes, because when you were thinking of Canadian music and a lot of the stuff that kind of sucks, and that's just how it works. Usually the worse a band is, the better chance they have at succeeding elsewhere, and that's just kind of sad, because you'll know us for stuff like Avril Lavigne, and Sum 41, and Nickelback, and now Justin Bieber and all this crap that's really, I don't think, very representative of Canadian music at all. So getting back to Sloan, okay, they were formed in the early 90s, and they're one of the rare bands that are still together, haven't lost a single member, and have always, pretty much, I'm not saying there hasn't been problems or turmoil, but they've remained together through it all, no long hiatuses, good consistency with putting out albums, etc., etc. And they were always a really important band to me, although not quite that early. It was probably around 97, 98 that I was starting to really appreciate them and appreciate this album, which many people feel still to this day is their best. I'm not going to really kind of comment on that, except, yeah, it's enjoyed a lot of acclaim. I remember the website chartattack.ca, which is also a magazine, consistently in reader polls and stuff votes it as the greatest Canadian rock album of all time, or album, or of the last 25 years, whatever. Very surprising in some ways, but not too surprising to me because I love Sloan. Again, Sloan are a little different than a lot of bands in that there's 4 members, and it seems like a standard lineup. It's usually 2 guitars, bass, drums, and every once in a while add a piano in and some extra musical instruments. But all 4 write songs separately, and then come together and collaborate that way. So, and whoever writes a song sings lead on it. All 4 guys are fairly good singers. There's no amazing singing talent, but good singing talent, and a good understanding of what a good song needs. Particularly, one thing that sets Sloan apart from a lot of their contemporaries, I think, is they understand the importance of vocal harmonies, and they do that a lot in their music. So, alright, the first track is a song called Pen Pals, and what's great about the little inset here is that it basically tells you what's going on as far as who's playing what, because, okay, Sloan are Jay Ferguson on guitar, Chris Murphy on bass, Patrick Pentland guitar, Andrew Scott drums. That's sort of the classic Sloan lineup, in that this is subject to change song by song. They switch it up, depending on what song it is. Whoever wrote the song sings lead for it. As I said, Chris is sort of like the default lead singer, because he's probably written the most songs himself, but it is quite evenly spread out. So Pen Pals is a really unique, cool little poppy song that's just written in the perspective of through pen pal programs that don't happen anymore with the internet probably, but kids from various foreign countries writing supposedly, I suppose, to another Canadian kid, and it's from their perspective, written in their interesting broken English, which makes for some cool, fun, cute lyrics. I remember I saw Sloan live. I've seen them live several times a few years ago with the girl who I was dating at the time, and I sort of enjoyed being able to sing the "You Are Surely Special, I Like You" line to her. That's always a good memory. Hate My Generation comes in next, Jay and Chris duet. You'd wonder, because that they all sing, that this doesn't happen more often, but it doesn't really. But anyway, Hate My Generation, like I said, is a duet between Jay and Chris. I don't have a lot to say on it besides that, except I like it. People of the Skies, where things sort of get different because it's an Andrew song. Andrew, again, is the drummer, and usually has the least songs of his own on the album. This is one of his two. Even somebody who's not like a good Sloan fan, or maybe a casual fan, listening to this album, once we get to track 3, knows something's different. That's because Andrew's songwriting is pretty different, I think, and also his the other 3 have at least similarly pitched voices, where Andrew's is the one that's different. People of the Sky is definitely his good track on this. It's a fun song. Andrew also plays guitar. Usually whenever Andrew steps up to the mic and plays guitar, Chris goes back and drums. Okay, 4th album, Coax Me. Big single, probably one of Sloan's greatest songs, one of their most recognizable songs. Beautiful, beautiful vocal harmonies. Really make the song stand out. It had a video a very simplistic sort of video, where it's just them playing against this backdrop, where it's kind of looks like they're playing on like on the set of a show, like the Ed Sullivan Show or something like that. But that doesn't matter. Beautiful, beautiful song. Beautiful guitar melodies too. On to Bells On, another Chris song. Chris also sang Coax Me. This is one of the more slow, ballady type songs. This is one of the first ones that's really on the album that really deals with love, I suppose, and relationships. But again, Sloan have very honest, introspective lyrics, kind of like maybe even Weezer in a way. It's funny, they were both on Geffen. Yeah, Bells On, a nice, slow, subdued song that builds to a very powerful climax, very enjoyable song. Okay, then tracks 6, 7, and 8 are Loosens, Worried Now, and Shame, Shame, 2 of which are songs by Patrick. And I think this is the only lull in the album. I don't think any of them are bad songs, but they all sort of... usually when I listen to the album, unless I'm making a conscious effort to listen to the whole album like this, I skip over those songs. Loosens is very slow, with Patrick singing and playing piano. Again, nothing wrong with it. Worried Now, Shame, Shame. Shame, Shame's another Chris song. It just feels... I think that's probably the weakest song on the album. Feels almost underdeveloped to me. Then we come to Deeper Than Beauty. Chris singing lead and playing guitar. That's the guitar intro that you heard during the intro. Very catchy song. Sometimes I think it's my favorite on the album. What my favorite is goes back and forth. Again, very nice, earnest lyrics. Very heartfelt, I suppose. Snowsuit Sound is... the only one that Jay is singing lead on by himself, except for when he was duetting on Hate My Generation. But Snowsuit Sound is a big fan favorite. A lot of people love it. It almost is always requested at shows. Very unconventional sort of song. It's another song with hand claps. Sloan are big for hand claps. It's hard to describe, but again, it's a very unconventional sounding song. It has a very good sing-along ability quality to it. That, again, is another reason why it's a favorite at shows. And once again, cool, down-to-earth, subdued, honest lyrics, braces, things like that. Okay, Before I Do is the oddity on this album. It's the longest by far at over 7 minutes. It's 7:06, which makes it more than twice the length of most of these songs, which are actually quite short, with the exception of Loosens. And it's Andrew's other song, and again, it's the oddity. It's quite different from the rest of the album. I'm not big on it. It's not great. It's cool. Once you get about 3 minutes and 20 seconds into it, then the song goes from very slow to picking up some, and then after the short part there, vocals, for the remaining 2.5 minutes of the song, it's all sort of instrumental, although you do hear Andrew sort of muttering over this. It's kind of interesting, and maybe it bears more listening on my part. Okay, and then the last is I Can Feel It, which is actually another sort of duet, except this time it's with somebody not from the band, vocalist Jennifer Pierce, who sings with Patrick. Again, sometimes I think this is my favorite song. What's interesting is that Patrick usually contributes a couple songs to an album, and a couple I don't care about at all, and then one that could even be my favorite. Same thing with I Can Feel It. Similar to Deeper Than Beauty in a lot of ways, and romantically tinged, just like Bells On. I love it. I love this album. Give it a shot, guys. Listen to Sloan because they're awesome. And peace out. Awesome. I'll be doing Audiology again really soon. This is a lot of fun. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.